I ran a campaign in the city of Melbourne, which is the second city of Australia. This young man did not come to my meetings, but I knew of him. This young man fell in with a company of people who were tremendously earnest and sincere, and they taught what is called by theologians the doctrine of sinless perfectionism. Oh, it sounds a great idea. A great idea. He was taught, unless you can become as sinless in the flesh as Jesus was sinless in the flesh, you're going to be damned during the time of the judgment. This young man was an earnest young man, went to church, went to Sabbath school, went to our church school. But the load became so great, he said, I have tried so hard, but I am not sinless. And because he was an honest young man and felt that he was displeasing God, he went and got in his father's car in the garage and turned on the motor car and went to sleep. They found his body in the morning, a victim of the doctrine of sinless perfectionism. Not unique to any one church, taught by the church of the Middle Ages, taught by the great scholars of the church, taught by the Jesuits, taught by a multitude of people today in all different types of churches. When I was running the campaign in the city of Melbourne, an old lady at the Nuttawading retirement village asked to see me, a pastor's wife. He had passed away, but she had been a pastor's wife, and she had been a spiritual leader in the church. And she came to me and she said, Pastor Carter, I have confidence in you because I've heard you preach the good old message. And she said, I want you to baptize me just before I die. I said, why should I baptize you before I die? She said, because the baptism will wash away my sins, and if I can hold on long enough, I won't sin, and then I'll be saved. Otherwise, if I sin, I will be lost. A pastor's wife. When I was a boy at Avondale College, when I was 17 years of age, I came under the influence of a person who must remain, I think, anonymous. His first name was Robert. He was dynamic, he was charismatic, he was a good preacher. He had an influence over most of us who were so young and green and illiterate as far as the Word of God is concerned. And he taught that if you're not absolutely sinless as Jesus was sinless, when probation closes, you're going to be cast into outer darkness and burned for all eternity. And so as a young man, I set out with a passion to reach sinlessness. And I had many conflicting emotions which were not caused, I believed, by my glands, but they were caused by my emotional, spiritual feelings. I had feelings of despair, and then I had feelings of superiority, because at some times I thought I really was attaining. And at other times, when I was honest with myself, I knew that I was simply a sinner. My struggle was not unique, I discovered. It was not a new experience. Martin Luther used to beat his back and starve his body, hoping that somehow he could earn the mercy of God through his attainment, because he did not understand that righteousness is not through attainment, but through atonement, which is the theme of today's sermon. You say, but everybody today in the church is perfectly plain on this subject. I want to tell you from my experience, the vast majority of people that I have met in the church are completely in a daze as far as this truth is concerned. And today I want to make it plain how a person is saved. Some people say that the most important book in the Bible is the book of Romans, and the most important chapter in the book of Romans is Romans chapter 3.